Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to Quebec City. Bienvenue à Ville de Québec. It's a beautiful mid-September day here in Quebec City. I've made a lot of videos in Montreal over the past few years, but this is my first time exploring Quebec City. So I'm really excited to be here. Long-awaited trip. I'm going to take you along today as I explore a city that you could say has a lot of character. I didn't put that there, I swear. I just randomly saw that. I thought it'd be a funny inclusion. But yeah, it's no joke. There is a lot of character here in Quebec City. Of course, for anyone who is new here, who stumbled on this video, I have been living in Montreal for a few years, so I'm no stranger to the province of Quebec. But it's here, in the capital city, perhaps more than anywhere else, that you really get the feeling that you're somewhere different. A distinct society with a distinct way of living. Now, I arrived in Quebec City late last night by Via Rail train. And I immediately had an interesting cultural experience. I'll tell you about that in a moment, but first of all, just take a look around us. This place is... wow. And to my left, you see one of the sloping streets. There are a lot of hills in Quebec City, that is for sure. But that's not the experience I want to tell you about. When I arrived last night, I was just walking out of the place I'm staying. I stumbled on this just music and dance thing. Suddenly, this is what I saw. I learned that it was a type of dance called trad, a traditional type of dance here in Quebec, which is actually influenced by kind of an Irish jig. Very interesting connection there. I would later find out that this was hosted as part of a cinema festival that's happening right now. Festival de Cinéma de Québec, or de Ville de... Festival de Cinéma de Ville de Québec, the film festival of Quebec City. That was perhaps the first reminder of what a cultural city this is when people talk about the culture of Quebec. You know, they're talking about the old buildings, but it's more than that. It's very much a culture that is alive today. And I saw that last night on my first walk into the city. I also saw one of the most beautiful women I've seen in my life dancing last night. And I wanted so badly to ask if I could join, but I had no idea how to do the dance, and I was too shy to say anything. So I missed my opportunity, but you know, such is life. Now I need to live with that. We all have those moments, my friends, where the opportunity slips by. But we're not going to let the opportunity slip by. Today in Quebec City, the opportunity to show off the streets. Oh, there's another festival. Mini Festival Québec BD. If I'm not mistaken, BD is bande dessinée, which means like it's not comic books, it's like graphic novels. So I take a short walk yesterday and I see traditional music and dance. I take a short walk today, I see a festival for, you know, graphic novels and stuff like that. You don't have to go far in this city to find things. There were also no shortage of people on that street, which was called Rue Saint-Jean. Even though there's a lot of interesting looking shops and cafes and stuff, I'm going to take some of the side streets just because when I visit a city, I like to explore the quieter areas. Speaking of taking the side streets and you stumble on things that you might not have otherwise found, this is very important. You know, I was talking a couple minutes ago about the style of dance called trad, which has influence from Ireland. There has been an Irish population in Quebec for a long time, and this somber monument is remembering the Grand Famine, the Great Famine, in which the population of Ireland was starving. There was a major food shortage that lasted for many years. And if I'm not mistaken, over half the population left and huge numbers of people died too. It's a very sad part of Irish history. But this is donated from people in Ireland to recognize Quebec's what they call solidarité humaine, the human solidarity in accepting a lot of people from Ireland who were moving to the New World and became part of this culture and brought with them things like the Irish jig, which influenced the dance that I saw last night. So it's funny how it all goes full circle sometimes, doesn't it? Look at this. I almost forgot what a modern glass building looks like. I've been surrounded by so many old stones and old bricks. They have done well preserving the core of the city, not allowing developments to change its character. Okay, so here's the plan. I'm going to take you towards the big Fairmont Hotel, which I believe is kind of the heart of the tourist area. But it also has beautiful views of the St. Lawrence River. I've seen pictures. I don't think a visit to Quebec will be complete without showing that. And then a bit later, I'm gonna leave the tourist core and I'm gonna show you some more local areas. At least that's the plan. You know, we'll see where the video goes. Hope you're enjoying this video from the streets of Quebec City. Just want to take a moment to tell you about today's sponsor, Vasco. So Vasco recently sent me the Vasco Translator V4, and this is a really cool device to help you out if you're traveling somewhere like Quebec and you happen to not speak the first language. So for example, there just happens to be a marathon today in Montreal, and this has changed some of the bus routes. But let's say you're not fluent in French and you're not sure what happens with your particular bus line. You just go like this. It recognizes the text, and a moment later, check this out. You can give it a white background. Look at this, we just made our own artwork out of that sign. And right away you can check out which line is canceled, which one's diverted, which one stays the same. And then let's say you're traveling on your own, you're having a coffee, you got a few minutes to spare. You can enter into learning mode and practice your language skills.
Vendredi. Un Américain.
Or let's say you want to buy a book, but you don't know how much they cost. Excuse me, how much are the books outside?
Excusez-moi, combien coûtent les livres à l'extérieur?
One thing I like is they have two speakers built on top, so it's actually really good at picking up your voice, even if you're in noisy environments. Translation speeds are fast. It supports over 70 languages in voice, over 100 if you're using the photo mode. Thank you to Vasco for supporting my work. There's a link down below where you can learn more about this device, and you can save 10% by using discount code NEWTRAVEL10. Now let's get back to the streets of Quebec City. Just look at the details on this door. They don't make them like that anymore. Someone remind me to come back here on St. Patrick's Day. I bet the vibe down here is pretty great. La boutique de Noël, Christmas boutique. Even in the warm months, full of people. Interesting. A little reminder that Quebec is over 400 years old. It's funny because last night, right after I'd seen the trad dance and stuff like that, I went to a bar and I actually started talking with this guy from France. Well, he's from France, but he's been living in Quebec City for about 5 years. And he was telling me, like, to him, Quebec doesn't seem that old at all because the town he is from in the south of France, he says, has all kinds of medieval buildings and roads that go back to the Roman Empire. And I was telling him, if you think this city is new, you should see the rest of Canada because this is very much our old city, you know? It's just funny how everything is relative based on your experience. Yeah, the French guy was cool. His name was Robin. Robin, we would say in English. Shout out to Robin. It's those brief encounters with people you meet that sometimes leave the deepest impacts when you're traveling. Even more than just the buildings and the streets. It's oftentimes the people and the perspectives they share that stay with you longest. And also the people you don't talk to will stay with you too. I should have said hello to that woman last night. Oh well. Such is life. We must continue on. Up above me, I can begin to see the famous hotel that I was telling you about. Wow. Hanging above us like a castle from Harry Potter. I'm gonna take a closer look, but first, I want to see the St. Lawrence River. Though I don't know everything about Quebec history, I can only assume it was this river that the first settlers traveled down. I imagine there were no cruise ships back in those days. Some things stay the same, like the river. Other things change. So it goes. You are living in Quebec, yeah?
Yes.
I could ask you about your experience living here,
Of
if
course.
you like. I was just by the water and I met two new friends.
Yeah. Hi.
Please remind me your name.
Me, I'm Zainab. Gabrielle.
Zainab.
Yeah,
Gabrielle.
Gabrielle, yeah.
Enchanté.
Enchantée.
And of course, you speak French and also a bit of English.
A bit of English,
Yeah,
yeah.
a bit.
A little bit.
Tell me your story. What are you doing here in Quebec?
First, I came here like in 2019.
Yeah.
And I came here for my study. I'm studying now in administration, business administration, sustainable development, international management, and marketing.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Et ben moi pour le français, je suis arrivée en 2021. D'abord, j'étudiais en master en planification financière, mais là j'ai fini il y a 1 an et je travaille comme contrôleur financier.
Yeah, félicitations. Ouais. Et est-ce que c'est une bonne expérience à Québec? Qu'est-ce que c'est votre expérience ici?
Justement, on en parlait.
Oui, justement, les gens, très très belle expérience,
Ouais.
beaucoup d'opportunités au niveau du travail,
Ouais.
beaucoup d'opportunités d'avancement, mais les gens ils sont vraiment gentils aussi.
Ouais,
genre,
ça c'est vrai.
franchement.
C'est facile de rencontrer du monde ici. En plus, c'est une petite ville.
Ouais.
Donc c'est quand même très cocon familial, très diversifié aussi. un peu,
Ouais,
quand
mais
même.
après on traînait beaucoup aussi entre nous immigrants, tu sais, parce
Ouais.
que c'est plus facile, on a la même réalité que ce soit pour les papiers, tu sais, comment
The
dire?
paper.
Yeah, the paper, genre les papiers pour l'immigration en fait,
Ouais.
voilà. Ou même nos expériences étaient beaucoup plus similaires.
Vous venez de Côte d'Ivoire.
Oui, moi je viens de Côte d'Ivoire,
Ouais.
c'est en Afrique de l'Ouest, champion d'Afrique.
Ah.
Est-ce que tu regardes le soccer, football?
Oui, parfois. Oui.
Ok.
Drogba.
Ah.
Je sais. You are from Guadeloupe.
Yeah!
C'est Guadeloupe or Guadeloupe? Guadeloupe.
Yeah.
Oula, Guadeloupe.
Ouais. And
Ouais.
so your first time in Canada must have been crazy, oui?
I
C'était
think
fou?
the first time, la première
Est-ce
fois
que
que j'ai
t'es
vu
arrivée en été?
Non, je suis arrivée en septembre 2019. Et la première fois que j'ai vu la neige, je crois que j'ai pleuré. Je voulais pas sortir. J'avais trop peur. Je savais pas ce que c'était. Tout le monde en parlait, mais tu sais, entre on t'en parle puis le vivre.
C'était la même? Ou...
Mais moi, je suis arrivée en plein hiver. Tu sais, tu sors de l'avion de 26 degrés à moins 20 degrés. Franchement, le choc. It was very, very cold. Mais après, on s'habitue. on s'habitue,
Non.
mais sinon, franchement. Mais moi, vraiment, je vais après des bons vêtements d'hiver.
Puis vivre un
Mais
peu l'expérience
franchement,
de-
c'est vraiment une belle ville. Ne serait-ce que le vieux Québec, là,
Ouais.
you know, Old Quebec City, là.
Yeah.
So beautiful, c'est charmant, c'est
Charming.
apaisant. Surtout de belles journées comme ça.
Ouais.
À chaque fois que ça fait 3 ans et demi que je suis à Québec, mais chaque fois que je viens au vieux Québec, je suis en mode c'est apaisant. Genre, ça fait vraiment du bien, ça te fait redescendre et tout. Yeah.
Qu'est-ce que vous pensez de l'accent québécois ou il y a les choses qu'on dit à Québec et on ne dit pas à l'autre pays?
C'est compliqué au début. Quand je venais d'arriver ici et que j'avais par exemple mes premiers cours, je comprenais rien. Je comprenais vraiment rien. Que ce que
Vraiment?
mon prof
Wow.
disait.
Genre, je me
comprenais
demandais s'il
rien
parlait
du tout.
français, tu sais.
Ouais.
Mais après,
En
tu
plus, il parlait
t'habitues
super vite.
rapidement.
Ouais.
Ouais.
L'accent
Puis-
fort.
Oui,
Ouais.
donc c'est
Puis en plus,
l'accent est fort.
des fois, tu sais, les gens, ils viennent de Québec, de Québec
Ouais, de
du
Saguenay,
Nord, tout ça. Ils
là,
ont vraiment en
c'est-
plus leur accent. Donc,
Et
non, au
leurs
début, c'était
expressions, tu sais. Mais après, tu t'habitues aux
Ouais,
expressions.
quand tu t'habitues, même toi, tu as l'accent en fait.
Yeah.
Genre-
Tabarnak.
Hey! Well, that was awesome. You know, just as I was talking about how traveling is all about the people you meet, I was filming by the river, and you know, one of the girls saw I had a camera and then asked if I could help change the setting on her camera because the sun was not looking good on her camera. And then we started talking, and then you know, next thing I know, I was like, "Do you want to talk in a video? It would be really cool to hear your thoughts on Quebec." And yeah, we just had a great conversation. That was really cool. And if you'll allow me to get a bit philosophical, as we climb the many steps up to the Château Frontenac, you know, it's almost like when you put yourself in those situations where you're looking to meet interesting people. When you keep your energy open in that way, those people will appear. The energy that you are putting out into the universe will come back to you in a very, very real sense. It's something that sounds overly spiritual, and you know, if you have a logical working brain, it might not make sense at first, but I can tell you that the encounter like the one I just had has happened to me many times in my travels. Take a look at this. Not today. It's a beautiful 25 degrees Celsius today. No snow in the forecast. Yeah, this hotel is really something else. I'm not staying here on my visit. I'm staying at a hostel called Auberge Internationale de Québec. It's a very nice place for affordable options. I can recommend it. Maybe one day you'll watch this channel. I'll be staying at a hotel like this. But for now, I walk around with my camera enjoying the sights like everyone else. Let's see if I can step inside actually. Just to see a bit of the architecture, this would be cool. Wow. I feel like I'm on the Titanic. Okay, let's leave the rich people alone. And just the other side of the hotel, you have these picturesque streets with nobody around. I don't know if it's just me, but I always enjoy walking the local streets even more than the tourist destinations. Especially in an old city like this, it just gives me the feeling that I've been transported back in time. And there's perhaps nowhere in Canada where you can better feel that than in the streets of Quebec City. I just stumbled on this place called Restaurant La Bûche. It's kind of like a sugar shack experience, which is a very Quebecois thing. I saw the vibe from the street and I was like, okay, I gotta check this place out. Oh yeah, I think I made the right choice. Look at this amazing brunch. Oh my God. The place was amazing, but that was so much food. I need a nap. I'm not kidding, YouTube. After that, I need a nap. Okay, I'm back from my nap. That was much needed. It's now just about golden hour, the last hour of daylight here in Quebec City. This already beautiful city is looking its best under the fading sunlight. And I thought I would take a slow walk towards Saint-Roch, which is another neighborhood. Apparently it's kind of like a hipster area. It's got some cool restaurants and cafes and stuff. So I'm gonna slowly make my way over there. And as I go, I'll give you some shots of whatever catches my eye. First of all, I'm standing here on something called St. John Gate, which offers a kind of unique lookout point. It's a really cool spot. Below me you can see one of the free seating areas from the Quebec Film Festival. There's something really cool about watching a film in a public space like that. We should have more events like this. As we move into the downtown core, you see the architecture has changed, but there's still little bits of the old world if you look close enough. Wow, look at that lighting. We're getting blessed tonight. Look at these buildings up here. It's like a postcard, isn't it? As we descend these steps, we leave behind the comfort of old Quebec and we enter into Saint-Roch, where no tourist has ever ventured before. I'm just kidding. I'm sure many tourists have been this way. But it is quite a different vibe from what I've shown you so far. By the way, check this out. Just to give you an example of how committed Quebec is to biking culture, up these stairs they have a nice pathway to allow people to easily carry their bike up and down the stairs. It's the little details like that that I really admire about Quebec, you know. This is a province that isn't afraid to do things a bit different. They don't follow what the rest of North America is doing. You know, most people say, okay, North America's for cars, and Canada's too cold for bikes anyway. No. The Quebecois reject that way of thinking. Quebec is a place that thinks different and is different. And you see it on every corner. Look at this building above me. In any other city in this country, that would be a cherished monument. Here, it's just a random building on a random corner. But you know what, my friends? The sun has set, and with it, I think our time is setting on this video as well. I'm gonna wrap it up by sharing a couple of final thoughts about Quebec City. What can I say that I haven't said before? I mean, the architecture is gorgeous, obviously. It's got plenty of good local foods and drinks for tourists to experience. But I think there's a level slightly deeper that you can experience when you spend a bit more time here or you slow down and you get to meet people, like the two lovely girls I spoke to by the river. Or like there was a Quebecois bartender and a guy from France who I was having a few drinks with last night. They were both really cool, really open, asking me how long I'm in town for, giving recommendations. And you know, they described Quebec to me as a village or a town. It's big enough to be a city, obviously. You have some big city vibes around me right now. But the people you get to know still have that friendliness of a small town. So if you're from Quebec, I hope I've done justice to your city with this video. I know I've only scratched the surface of the area outside of Old Quebec, but there's obviously a very interesting and diverse set of neighborhoods to the city. If you're not from Quebec, I hope I've inspired you to visit or to add it to your list. And finally, big thank you to everyone who's made it to the end of the video in this era of short attention spans. It really does mean a lot to me that you stuck around to the end. If you want to support my work to help me make more videos like this in cities around the world, you can check the description where there'll be a few ways that you can do that. Other than that, I'm Dan from The New Travel. Thanks again for watching, and I will catch you next time. Forgot my camera.